You could actually power the entire United States with 100 miles by 100 miles of solar.
Really?
Yes.
So you can just pick some dead spot that you fly over,
which there are plenty.
cover that sucker up with
Correct.
solar panels, and charge the whole country.
Absolutely.
24/7.
We need batteries, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's very feasible. The sun is converting over 4 million tons of mass to energy every second, and it's no maintenance. That thing just works. We have a giant fusion reactor in the sky. That is the sun.
For over a century, your relationship with the energy grid has been one way. You consume, they charge, and then you pay whatever rate they dictate. Rising utility costs, grid instability, and massive AI data center energy demands are forcing central power costs higher every single quarter. Treating energy as an ongoing operational expense is a massive leak on your personal balance sheet. At Soldiers of Finance, we have a clear mission: increase financial potential, decrease economic risk. Advancements in technology and energy offer the most abundant paths to accomplish this mission. Localized battery storage and automated energy trading software is turning residential and commercial real estate from passive cost centers into autonomous income generating infrastructure nodes. Now, I will be the first to admit I was not sold on solar when they started trotting it out and Al Gore came out with the inconvenient truth, and basically they were trying to kind of do a mind screw on you and guilt you into adopting these new technologies. Anytime a new technology comes out, it's going to be far less efficient in the beginning than it will be years down the road. I believe that we are approaching a point at which not only is the technology advancing to really make this feasible and not just niche, but we also have pressure, cost pressure from traditional utility companies that are starting to, for some people, bring a cost equivalency into focus that may justify you moving toward solar. Now, I have always been enamored with and a fan of the idea of getting energy from the sun, because so much solar power hits this planet every day, all day. It makes sense. And if I can cut out, in my case, Exelon and Baltimore Gas and Electric, and if I can do it in a cost-efficient way, I'll do it every day of the week.
But the Earth only receives about 0.5 billionth of the sun's energy. So the sun is truly enormous. The sun is 99.8% of all mass in the solar system. So sometimes people will ask me, like, what about, other power sources of power on Earth? Like, what about fusion on Earth? Well, that is unfortunately very small. Because the sun is 99.8% of mass in the solar system. And Jupiter is about 0.1%, and Earth is in the miscellaneous category. We are, I think it's Carl Sagan, I think might have said, Earth is like a tiny dust mote in a vast darkness. Very, very small. The sun is enormous. So the way to actually scale civilization is to scale power in space. This is necessarily true because we actually capture such a tiny amount of the sun's energy on Earth because we're just this tiny dust mote. Another way to think of it is roughly like electricity production on Earth of all of civilization is only about 1/trillionth of the sun's energy. Which means if you increase civilizational power output by 1 million, you would still only be 1/millionth of the sun's energy.
The economic calculus of solar energy just fundamentally shifted. Traditional silicon solar panels capped out at around 20 to 22% efficiency. They took up massive square footage, carried long payback periods, and barely generated enough excess power to justify the capital expenditure. Perovskite-silicon tandem cells stack two active absorbing layers into a single panel, capturing different spectrums of sunlight. This pushes commercial efficiencies past 35%.
What if solar panels could generate twice the power for a fraction of the cost, making them cheap enough that everybody would want them on their roof? Well, researchers in Australia may have just pulled it off. This is a solar cell made with both perovskites and graphene, the record-breaking result of a collaboration between 3 Aussie teams: the Queensland University of Technology, or QUT, Halo Cell Energy, and First Graphene. This perovskite cell initially had an efficiency of 16.65%, which is well behind the 20% efficiency range that we're used to with standard silicon. The introduction of graphene almost doubled that initial figure to 30.6%, all while cutting production costs by an estimated 80%.
All right, so what do we know? We know that technology always advances. So again, we're at a point where the efficiency of solar is far and away better than it was when it first premiered, started coming out on roofs. I always told people, wait, don't get it on your roof just yet. You're going to have the equivalent of an 8-track tape on that roof because we're going to see advancements. And here we are.
Guys, I recently got a solar system installed on my roof, which is just insane. It's mind-blowing. On many days of the year, it's giving me enough energy to charge 2 Tesla Model Ys or 2 Xpeng G6s. The Xpeng G6 is the car that I'll be using. So my solar will be powering my EV. In fact, I'm about to pick it up this week, which is really, really exciting. But the efficiency of solar panels is skyrocketing. The records just keep getting broken. And what this means is that as the price of solar continues to fall, as it does, pay no attention to the media because their facts are just made up. The price of solar continues to come down. The efficiency goes up at the same time. Now that means that actually the combination of solar with battery storage is cheaper than coal in almost every country now worldwide.
So what are we seeing? Constant innovation in solar technology. Now, we're going to continue to see this. So the costs have to be such that years down the road, you can upgrade in a cost-efficient manner without being locked into some extremely long financial commitment, like a lot of people are today based on the solar panel agreements that they got when this technology first premiered. Now, what do these efficiency jumps mean for you? Well, you generate nearly twice the wattage per square foot of roof space compared to legacy installations. Perovskite layers use abundant, low-cost raw materials, drastically shortening the capital recovery window, that point at which you hit the break-even point. Additionally, high efficiency means superior performance during low light, cloudy, and off-peak conditions, creating a predictable baseline of power generation. When you double generation efficiency without increasing your physical footprint, your property stops merely offsetting its own consumption, and it starts to enter a status where it's generating a permanent energy surplus. Generating excess power through solar is actually only step one. The real financial potential unlocks when you combine that surplus with localized battery storage and automated energy trading software.
A lot of people I know have solar. I said, if the grid goes down, does the solar work? And they said, no. I said, well, what's the point? Why do you have solar? Here in California, we have lots of climate events. When you have solar and a Powerwall, I get to control all that. I like the independence.
My financial advisor had put Tesla solar on her house with the battery.
Steve recently purchased this house, and Steve wanted to put solar on it. And I said, go look at Tesla.
They installed the panels on the roof and the Powerwall, everything that it needed in that one day. Here's what I'm looking at on the app. Powerwall is 100%, and 2.7 is going to the grid.
During the day, when the cost of energy is lower, the solar runs the house. When the cost of energy is higher, the Powerwall runs the house. It automatically knows when to do it.
The last bill was a minus 64.83, but look at the credit for the years to date, $492.82. I feel great.
Central power grids operate on dynamic time of use pricing. During peak demand hours, typically late afternoon and early evening, wholesale electricity rates skyrocket. Instead of sending your excess solar power back to the grid for pennies under basic net metering schemes, smart microgrid software automatically executes arbitrage loops on your behalf. So your perovskite solar system fills your local batteries during peak morning generation and draws cheap off-peak power from the grid at night. When regional grid demand spikes and wholesale prices surge, your system automatically discharges stored power back into the local market at peak rates. Software agents then monitor regional power prices in real time, executing thousands of small automated transactions per month with zero daily effort for you. Under this scenario, you're no longer just an average energy consumer. You're also a localized, high margin energy trader. So, all right, let's map this against Soldiers of Finance's core framework. You turn a monthly utility bill, which is an ongoing financial drain, into a predictable cash flow stream that pays down the initial hardware investment while producing high margin yield for years after payoff. You completely decouple your home or business from central grid failure. If cyber threats, brownouts, or severe weather take down regional power lines, your air-gapped system keeps your lights, compute, and operations running without interruption. In a world where central utilities face mounting infrastructure risk and rising fuel costs, owning your power generation and storage turns energy into a sovereign asset class. Financial sovereignty is not just about holding assets, it's also about eliminating systematic dependencies. By building localized, high efficiency energy microgrids, you eliminate one of your largest recurring expenses while opening up a brand new revenue source. We're going to have more on this topic because building your own power grid, separating yourself from these energy monopolies who, look, you're going to look back on the bills of 2026 and say those were the good old days. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I'll talk to you soon.